we would not be in the situation that we're in. But there are no plants, to my knowledge, in operation in Japan that would not require electricity for cooling. There are none of the new generation in existence yet, except for some under construction in China, I believe.
I see. Mr. Mervine,
So what needs to be done, is all of the plants along the coast need to look at their protection against the ocean.
Yeah, especially in this earthquake, prone region.
Right, and I don't think that we can say, well, it's a newer plant, so it's not a problem.
Yeah.
No.
Especially in this earthquake, prone region.
Right, and I don't think that we can say, well, it's a newer plant, so it's not a problem.
Yeah.
No. Every single plant in Japan that's on the ocean needs to be looked at, as well as every single plant around the world that's on the ocean needs to be looked at, because none of them are yet these, what they call Generation 3 plus plants that don't require any cooling or electricity for, I think, the Westinghouse design. For 3 days after an accident, they can run without any additional water or electricity.
I understand. There's another inquiry I have about the fuel content of the rods. I mean, I heard that there's uranium and there's also like plutonium. Is that true?
All fuel rods that have been in a nuclear reactor have both uranium and plutonium, as well as iodine, cesium, strontium, etc.
So plutonium is part of the fuel mixture of this reactor.
So a conventional fuel rod, when it's new, is uranium, and it's normally enriched to 3 or 4%. And what that means is normally natural uranium is about 1% uranium-235, and 99% uranium-238.
Yes.
And in order to make it useful for a reactor, it's enriched to, say, 96% uranium-238 and 4% uranium-235. And the reason why is in a reactor, uranium-238 does not fission. Only the uranium-235 does. So only the uranium-235 percentage is used as a reactor fuel. But what does happen is uranium-238 will absorb a neutron, and it becomes uranium-239. And then after a couple of decays, it becomes plutonium-239.
Okay.
Plutonium-239 will fission, and so in a normal commercial reactor, about 30 to 40% of the power generated actually comes from the fissioning of plutonium.
Yes.
And all spent fuel rods contain plutonium because it's created as the neutrons bombard the uranium-238.
Okay. So is plutonium more dangerous in terms of like radiation?
Plutonium is considered more dangerous because it has more health impacts on human beings. And again, I have to do a little homework, but from my memory, plutonium has a much longer half-life, so it will stick around in the environment much longer.
I see. Yesterday there was an announcement from the U.S. base here in Yokosuka and in the area close to the disaster area, they ordered the evacuation of all the personnel, civil personnel, and embassies. Do you think this from the U.S.? Do you think this is a sign of that the things are not going to progress, or the Americans are going to give up on Japan situation?
I think that was a result of one of two things. Either that was a result of a very, very conservative call,
Yeah.
or it reflects the lack of confidence in getting good information from the Japanese government.
Yes. Okay.
So, but again, based on any information or data that's seen, outside of the recommended evacuation zone and even, the expanded one from the U.S. of 50 miles or 80 kilometers, there doesn't seem to be any concern. So I think it's a very conservative call, but it also may have been a move to demonstrate to Japan the lack of confidence that we had in how they were performing. It may have been to make a very strong political statement.
Right. I understand. I also thought that, I was talking with a friend about that it was more political because, with the current situation, I think it was not justifiable to make such a,
Yeah, I'm only hypothesizing, but because the data doesn't support evacuating anybody from Tokyo.
I see. In the case of Chernobyl, the area was the maximum area. I mean, the area of how can I say the evacuation was about also the same, like 30 kilometers, right? I heard.
I honestly don't remember. It's been so long.
Okay. All right.
I do know that the release of radioactivity was much higher.
I see.
And could be detected in many countries around Europe.
Is there some type of radiation that cannot be detected by the normal instruments? I mean, like for example, the instruments that are sold to the normal population, that these Geiger counters and radiation meters that are about $300. Is there some type of radiation?
I'm really not familiar with those, so I couldn't tell you. I can tell you that different types of radiation require different types of detectors.
Yeah.
So I would speculate that if it's something that's available to the general public and low cost, that it's certainly not of the quality that would be used by a professional monitoring team, and probably cannot detect all the different types of radiation and radioactivity.
So I guess an instrument that's very reliable would cost thousands of dollars.
Correct.
I see. Which type of radiation should I be most concerned about in this case?
Well, again, at your distance, it's really the particulate radiation.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
Because it's the alpha and beta particles that would be carried in the
Okay.
It's not so much that the alpha and beta particles are being carried; it's the elements that decay.
Yeah.
And would release these particles, right?
Should it be useful to start taking like potassium iodine pills?
No.
Oh.
No. So what potassium iodine does is it will be absorbed in your thyroid.
Yeah.
And the principle is it will absorb the iodine from this pill.
Yeah.
So that your thyroid can't absorb any more iodine.
Yes.
So it's the timing of when you take that is critical. If you take it too early, then it will come out of your body, and then when bad radioactive iodine is there, your thyroid will absorb it anyways.
Okay.
If you take it too late,
and
you've already absorbed the radioactive iodine, then it does no good either. So, again, based on the data, there would be no reason to take that, and you wouldn't want to take it until directed by the government, because the timing is so critical.
Yeah. It could be dangerous for your health too.
Well, it wouldn't be dangerous for your health to take the pill. It's just if you take it at the wrong time, if you take it either too early or too late, it won't have the effect to block the radioactive iodine.
I understand. Is there any other pill or any other medication to avoid the particulate radiation?
Well, no. So in that case, you don't really avoid it. You just avoid it being absorbed into your thyroid. And the reason why the thyroid is because it's one of your most active glands in your body.
Oh, okay, I understand. So during your career as a nuclear engineer, were you ever at risk of radiation sickness and contamination or anything like that? Were you ever exposed to a lot of radiation? Or?
So in my career, I was never exposed to a significant amount of radiation.
Oh.
And in some cases, we do such a good job during normal operations that the radiation levels are oftentimes lower than they are in the natural environment. Some of the workers that receive the most radiation every year are people that work on airplanes.
Yeah.
Pilots and flight attendants.
Yeah.
Because they fly so far up in the atmosphere, the atmosphere is a very good shield against cosmic radiation.
Yeah.
And airline crews get a lot more radiation than nuclear power plant workers normally.
That's interesting.
But I did work around places where there was a lot of radiation and radioactivity. And when we go and work on and open up systems where there would be radioactivity, of course, we have to wear the suits. Depending on whether it was dry or wet, you might have a different suit. And there's parts of the plant in which you could expect contamination, and you have to wear the suits. And then when you leave there, you take the suits off, and you have to be scanned.
Yeah.
But for myself, personally, no. Of course, a lot of the other people, the operators, and in particular the maintenance workers that had to do a lot of work during the outages would, of course, be exposed to a lot more radiation and radioactivity than I was.
I see. So the suits are quite effective, right?
They're effective against getting particulates in your body or on your body.
And the gamma radiation?
It will have no effect against gamma rays, which are very similar to X-rays.
I can stop that, right?
They cannot stop that. The only thing that can stop that is either only working in that area for a short period of time, so that the amount you receive is less, or sometimes if we have to work in an area, we'll install temporary shielding, either lead sheets or concrete blocks that will attenuate the radiation.
I understand.
Or, maybe it's a job that takes an hour. If it's a very, very high radiation area, you might have to split that against 3 people so that each individual person doesn't get too much radiation.
I understand. Okay, sir. I think I covered most of the information and issues I was concerned about. If I have your permission, I would like to publish this interview, which I think it's really valuable information and very critical at the moment. So once again, I would like to thank you for your time and your patience. And really, this information could truly save lives here. Okay. So,
well, most importantly, I hope it gets people more information and helps them understand what's going on.
Okay, and I'm also working together with another friend. It's Ruben. So he also helped me draft the questions for this interview. So yeah, also thanks on behalf of my friend. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks. Thanks to Evelyn too. Bye. Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye.